live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and today is the moment you all have been waiting for. The NFL Playoffs show where I give my playoff bracket, my playoff predictions for each round we go through. Now, there's going to be a little twist to this because there's ways I've done it in the past. I've done it with the helmets. I've done it with a pure John Madden telestrator before. Not an actual telestrator. I did it with a whiteboard. Okay? I've done it with huge stats. Huge stat-driven things, right? Done it that way for 3 years. Since I'm kind of getting out of the way from being sick, as you guys remember how shitty I sounded last episode, I didn't feel doing the helmets. A, my helmets are a little outdated. And B, I feel like talking today because I'm sounding better. And I don't know, today I kind of want to make this a little more shorter than the previous episodes because I just want to get my picks and honestly then kind of talk about a little bit about the bracket because that way I just make this about the playoff preview show and that's it. I'm not really going to talk much about Week 18 because most of these games, people were resting, getting ready for this round, and there was probably, one meaningful game as far as, both teams needing it, right? So, we can go there. So for those of you that don't know how the playoff preview show works, I will go through each round. I will give you my picks. At the end of each round, I will recap who I have winning and who I have predicting to play in the next round after that until we get to the championship games and the Super Bowl because that's pretty easy to kind of put them all together. So, we're going to start with the wild card. We're going to go in the earliest game order to the latest game order. That's how we're going to do this. So, we're going to start with the Saturday games, work our way to Monday night, and then go to the divisional round, which I have no idea the order for that. That's where I'll just kind of wing it from the matchups and go from there. So, let's start off with the Chargers and the Texans. Now, Chargers are 2.5-point favorites last that I remember. In fact, I will get the lines in front of me while we go through this because that way I have them in front of me. And that way I can give you guys an idea where I'm leaning for guarantees. I want to make sure I have it pulled up first on. That way you guys can see. Because I seen a little bit of this lately, as far as early. Let me make sure I'm right. Yes, Chargers are 2.5-point favorites. In Houston, the over-under is at 42.5. I would lean the Chargers. I would. I trust Jim Harbaugh's group over the Texans. I don't like the way that they're able to protect the quarterback right now. And I think their defense is really good. They were the number one defense in, I think, total defense this year. Their pass rush with Bosa and Khalil Mack, they're not young like some of these teams are, but they can get after it. And that's a big deal because if you can get those guys, one of them to have their big monster games, which we know these guys are able to do that, That's a big deal. I'm looking for the team stats so that way I can get the actual defensive statistics for the Chargers. Let me take a look real quick because I know the Chargers were number 1 in something. I think it was scoring defense. I'm going to look it up real fast. I know how we check this. Hold on. But I think this defense gives C.J. Stroud problems, especially with Tank Dell being out, Stephon Diggs being banged up, right? I feel like that's a big deal. Yeah, I was right. So number 1 scoring defense, the Chargers defense is giving up a little over 17 points a game. It's a lot for the Texans to win this game, I feel like, without Stephon Diggs, without Tank Dell. They can't protect well, and the Chargers got a good rotation of pass rushers from Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Tulu. I'm sorry if I butchered the name, but you guys know who I'm referring to. I think Jesse Minter's going to have a game plan for Stroud, and I feel like that the Texans season, it was good in the beginning, and then just when Diggs went out, they became all right, and then they just plateaued bad down the second half. That was really what was bad for them, and I feel like that's kind of dug them in offensively. Now, what do I think the Texans are going to have to do to win? Well, they got to start by trying to get a running game with Mixon going, because I feel like when they can get a running game with Joe Mixon going, that's when I feel like they could take pressure off Stroud. Last year, they had that with Devin Singletary a little bit to help, and they kind of forced teams to kind of like let Stroud beat them. And sometimes Stroud did beat him last year, but this obviously is a little bit different scenario because with their line struggling, right, their receivers really not stepping up big. I feel like that Joe Mixon's going to have a big game, but it's going to be tough to run the ball on the Chargers because their run defense is pretty top notch, right? I mean, you know, they're above average in run defense, right? But I think they're going to need to get him going a little bit and make sure that they can get a balance going, because I feel like that's your best way to kind of handle this Chargers team defensively. Derwin James is a really good player in the back end. I feel like their defense is going to be tough to move the ball on. So I think the only way you do it is longer possessions. You run the football. You get into second and manageable, get into third and manageable, and I feel like that's your best way to put yourself in a position to win this game, because the Chargers get stingy in the red zone, and you have to get scoring drives. But how do you get scoring drives? You got to possess the ball. You got to run with Mixon, get into manageable second and third downs, and find a way to just keep the chains moving and just make play extenders, is what I would like to say. Keep Herbert on the sideline and find a way to score. And Stroud's won a playoff game before at home. But this is a different Texans team compared to last year. That team wasn't expected to do much in the playoffs last year. Now that they've won a playoff game, have gotten to the divisional round, it's a little different now because the injuries are not expected to do much, but they technically were a team going in that I thought would be a Super Bowl team, but I could see that's not going to happen. But I think the best way to move, the best way against the Chargers, run Mixon, get to second and third and manageable, find play extenders. Schultz, find a way to get Collins in case he's not double covered, which that's probably going to happen. Joe Mixon in the passing game is going to be big. You got to find ways to get guys like John Mechie going, right? Find a way to get somebody else to be a factor in this game if you're the Texans. Defensively, this was a good defense this year. Not great. Early in the year, they looked promising. They looked really good. But They gave up a lot to Tennessee. That was one game. I know Kansas City had their way. Baltimore had their way. They just didn't capture the same way. And I feel like that, Will Anderson and company, Danielle Hunter, those guys can get after the quarterback, right? But the Chargers don't throw the ball a lot. They run the ball with J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, their running game. And that's what Harbaugh's going to do. Harbaugh's going to run the football. It's been his way with Michigan, San Francisco. Now, Houston's defense is pretty good against the run. They're better against the pass. They're number 6. So that's going to be big. And they're top 5 in total defense. So I think Houston's defense has a chance to give this Chargers offense some problems. They're going to have to make them. They're going to make them earn it every way they can. But I feel like that their best hope is you stop the run, and they got guys that can do that. But Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, you got to make sure that your defensive front stops them on first down, stop them on second down, get into third and long, let your haymakers go crazy with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter to get to Herbert. Because if you keep him behind the chains, you keep making Herbert drop back to beat you, those guys have chances to get one-on-ones and get to the quarterback. Get some stops, maybe get a strip sack fumble. And that helps kind of get your offense a short field for them to take advantage on, right? And I feel like that they have a good defense, but again, I feel like that they've been exploited a little bit. And I like D'Amico, I do. But I feel like that your best hope is to get Anderson, Hunter into third and longs and let them go hunting for the quarterback. Stingley, he's probably going to take Ladd McConkey if I had to guess. And I feel like that they're second level. I like Christian Harris. He's a good player. But they've struggled a little bit outside of Stingley in the back end at times. I feel like that's going to be an area that I think that they're going to have to be ready for. Those young corners, those young safeties. So the Texans, they got to find a way to get a takeaway or two. Remember, Justin Herbert, I know this was Brandon Staley as a coach. I know. But he did blow a 27-3 lead in the playoff game. It did happen. But, and I'm sure that's in Justin Herbert's back of his mind a little bit, although I think Harbaugh is trying to just be like, guys, that was done. That was not me. That was not this team. This is a different team, which it is. But the Texans, hey, you got to go out there, just play smart football. That's what they got to do, because you got to know your deficiencies and know what you need to do well to win a game. Because it's all about winning one game now. It's not about, eventually it's about getting that Lombardi, yes, but you need to get a win right now. Just get one win, and then worry about the next opponent after that. That's what they need to do. So I think I pretty much said my stuff on the Texans. I feel like that's something that I would look at for them per se. Now, as far as the Chargers offensively and defensively go, right? Houston's number 4 in sacks this year with 49. As I mentioned earlier, Will Anderson Jr., Danielle Hunter, those guys are waiting to just get that jump off the ball and get to Herbert, right? That's why they're leaning on Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, right? They're not letting Herbert throw 35, 40 times. They don't need to. They need to just control the clock, which is what their whole offense is, right? And it's led by Joe Alt, number 5th overall pick in the draft. It's led by Rashawn Slater, the other guy. And I feel like this unit has been a very good unit this season. They've been good offensively. They've been able to run the rock, right? I think for them, they've shown times where they can score. And again, I want to see for them, can they get their offense to get that balance of run, but then sell the Texans front with some play action and kind of get those linebackers' eyes guessing run and then kind of hold them with the play action. That's what I want to see if the Chargers can do, which they have a play action game. But I think this would be good against a team like Houston where you can kind of freeze those edge rushers a little bit where they can go, oh, we got to play the run. Nope. He pulled the ball back, rush upfield. And I feel like that the Chargers, you need that balance on offense. You can run the ball, but don't get into a game where you know that Houston is going to clamp the run up because they're a pretty good run defense. They're not great compared to the past, compared to like that area, right? Total defense are top 5. Okay, sacks are number 4, as I just mentioned. You could run the ball. I'm not saying go away from your game. But what I'm saying is, if it's a running game, you either got to have dudes that maul them up front that they can't stop you, or you're going to have to mix in some play action to keep them guessing and kind of freeze those edge rushers a little bit from getting to Herbert and give them just a little bit of time to get that ball out and get it to Quentin Johnston, get a lot of McConkey, get those other guys going, right? Will Dissly, the tight end. So if you could do that, I feel like that for them, they'll be able to get some points, kind of get that early lead, and kind of keep them at arm's length and put them away late in the 4th with Edwards or Dobbins and just pound the rock and just completely move on to next week. That's what you want to do on offense. And I feel like that if you're able to do that, you'll be fine. Obviously, I think Ladd has been a big part in their offense. He's a good slot underneath receiver. I think he'll get going a little bit there with a little bit of the underneath game. They've been attacking the sidelines with him a little bit more. Quentin Johnston, kind of give him that good 50-50 ball. If he's not on Stingley, don't do it. If he's not on Stingley, take a shot once in a while, but don't test Stingley. Don't do it. But I feel like that for them, that's going to be something where I want to see who can they find that number 1 option in the passing game with. Because Ladd looks like the number 1 right now. But is he going to be the number 1 for the future that this team can build upon? Because they really need a receiver going into this offseason when it's time. But they're in the middle of trying to make a playoff run. So I feel like that I want to see for the Chargers a balance of play action and the run. I want to see who the number 1 option is in the passing game. And I want to see what their game plan is because you can't double Hunter and leave Anderson free rushing. How do you block those 2 guys? Because Joe Alt's probably going to take 1, right? And then are you going to double team Danielle Hunter? How are you going to do that, right? I want to see what their key is for those 2 guys because those 2 guys, when they're rolling, they can wreck a game. And both of those guys had really good seasons this past year. So, very interesting to see how that will unfold throughout the course of the game from a Chargers offense. Now, defensively, Bosa, Mack, those guys, find creative ways to get pressure. That's what they've got to do. I feel like this Chargers defense, they are a defense that I feel like they do trust their front 4 a lot. Number 6 in sacks. That's a big deal. So you're going to see 2 teams that have guys that on the edge. They know what they've got to do. They can get to the quarterback. Now it just comes down to, all right, well, can we get a turnover? Can we get a game-changing play from Joey Bosa, from a Khalil Mack, right? Can Derwin James make a play as a safety? That's another element that I want to see. Who on this Chargers defense has that knack for forcing turnovers? And I want to see who's got that takeaway ability for the Chargers that they can get. Because I like Derwin James. But I'm waiting to see who else can be that guy that can force turnovers. But surprisingly, they're number 4 in turnover differential. So they can take the ball away. But can they get it with a team that is going to be looking to get the ball out quick? And there's no secret to it. They've had 15 interceptions this year, 6 fumbles. So they've had 21 total takeaways this season, which I think goes for about, I want to make sure I get the right number here. It's about above average in the league. It's above average, but again, their turnover differential, that's big too. So, again, like I said, for them, I feel like defensively, you got to find a way to get creative pressure, not just with a standard 4-man rush. Maybe get some loops in there. Try to get some blockers to overwhelm the line. Try to find ways where you get extra blitzers and over blockers. There's got to be ways that you can get pressure on Stroud. To kind of give him fits a little bit, especially knowing that offensive line is not good at pass protecting. That's always something that you got to find out, especially with Jesse Minter. And then you got to find a way to get those key takeaways to get your defense, off the field and get your offense into a short field. And I feel like if you're able to do that, you could put the Texans away early. And I feel like that the Chargers, I like them a little bit more on both ends. They're not as injury prone like the Texans are. And I feel like Justin Herbert, this is a game he's waited for. And he's waited for a game like this to kind of take that step that we've all wanted him to take from being such a highly sought draft pick back in 2020. So, and Jim Harbaugh, people forget, he's been a winning playoff coach with the Niners, right? He won at least a playoff game in 3 straight seasons with San Francisco from 2011 to 2013. So, he's definitely capable. And I trust Jim Harbaugh over D'Amico. I trust Herbert over Stroud. I trust the Chargers defense a little more than the Texans defense. And I most certainly trust the Chargers offense over the Texans offense. So, Chargers are going to win the game. And I'm going to go with the game. I'm going to go 23. I'm going to go 23-13. I think that they can get one touchdown late that kind of delivers that late knockout punch, and that's it. That puts the Texans away. Because I do think Houston will make the Chargers running game work a little bit, force them into some field goals, but I do think they can crack the end zone twice in this game, and I think that the Texans defense can keep them in it, but I don't think they can keep them in it for the entirety of the game, and I think the Chargers get one late score, delivers that late knockout punch. 23-13, Chargers beat the Texans. So that means if you're betting the under, I'd lean the under, but that's not a guarantee. All right? So I would lean the Chargers personally. That's not a guarantee, but that's me. Steelers at the Ravens. Ravens are 9.5-point favorites at home. Over and unders at 43.5. Now, this is round 3. And this is a legacy game for Lamar Jackson, I think. This is a legacy game for Lamar. Because you don't win this game, I don't want to hear any more about the MVP being handed out to you. I really don't. Okay? He's got to win it. The Steelers' offense is putrid. They are not moving the ball well. Okay? You just beat them down, what was it, 3 weeks ago now? I mean, come on now. You guys have the better team now. Right? And I know Lamar's historically struggled with the Steelers, right? But that game they recently just played, that was a big deal. Because that defense was better that game. Their offense found a way to run Derrick Henry. And they ran him pretty damn good against the Steelers. A good run defense. And they were able to have their way. So, I look at Baltimore. I'm going to go to them second. But if I'm Pittsburgh, right? And they're the road team. So, I'm going to start with them first. In this case, since I started with the home team last time. Pittsburgh, offensively, they are a heavy run team. And they got to lean on Najee Harris. Only problem is the Ravens are stout against the run. So I feel like they've got to find creative ways to create spacing. They've got to find creative ways to get good routes open and kind of get Pickens to draw those safeties back and clear the underneath for one of their other guys. Because it is too crowded over the top for Pickens. Who's the second guy they got? I don't see a second option emerging. I don't know. Calvin Austin's good, but he's more of a, down the field type guy. Who is their guy on Pittsburgh that you can go get a good, open play for him and let him make work after the catch? I don't know who is that guy yet. Arthur Smith loves running the ball with Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, keeping the tight ends on the line. Pat Freiermuth, right? Darnell Washington. All right, so we know he's going to try to run, but you got to find a way to also get kind of those bootlegs of Russell Wilson, those, again, play action, kind of, get those backers sucked in a little bit. Get some spacing. They need some spacing. They need some separation because it's too clouded over the top for Pickens. Because he's getting to the point where they're bracketing him and they're like, nope, you can't have him. You got to find a way to move the ball and get somebody else the ball that can have success against this defense. And let me say this too. This Ravens defense is not last year's defense. They're not. They're improving, but they're not last year's team. No, they're not. They're good. Nowhere near as good as last year. But Pittsburgh's got some offensive problems that I feel like have to be looked at. And that's a little concerning. For me, at least, what I would say. They're averaging scoring offense, right? Scoring almost 22 a game. Rushing offense, a little above average. Passing, a little bit of a different story. And then total offense, kind of average too, maybe below average, but they got to find a way to get Pickens the ball without feeling like he's got double coverage on him every time. And that's the thing that they have to do. Or if you get Pickens with double coverage, get somebody else the ball that can have success. And that's where I think their wide receiver room has had problems all season long. All right? And I know they got a good running game with Warren and Najee, but the Ravens' run defense is good. It's going to be hard to run the football against them. That's why Freiermuth, that's why Darnell Washington, that's why somebody else has got to find a way to step up and find a way to make plays. Because if you can do that, you'll be fine. Offensive line-wise, they've struggled a little bit. So you got to find a way to keep Russell protected and get that ball out quick because Kyle Van Noy's having a good career year. Madubuike's good in the interior. All right? They've got guys that can rush the passer in Baltimore. And you got to find a way to get the ball out quick. So that's another way. Get the ball out quick for Russell Wilson. Make sure he doesn't get sacked. The longer he holds the ball, bad things happen. Okay? And then, really, who is your trusted playmaker other than Pickens? Who's it going to be? That's my keys on Pittsburgh's offense. Defensively, you have TJ Watt. You have Anthony Highsmith, or Alex Highsmith. You got Cam Hayward. You got guys up front that can disrupt Lamar. Now, you got to keep Lamar in the pocket. Because you let him escape, it's good night, Irene. Okay? But, by keeping him in the pocket, you've got to find a way to also confuse him with coverages while mixing in different pressure looks. Because if you can do that, that's where you force him into making those bad decisions. And obviously Mike Tomlin knows where he struggles. I don't doubt Mike Tomlin there. What I will say, though, is that I feel like for the Steelers, number one, contain Lamar. Number two, you got to find a way to get some pressures that you know he's going to have a hard time doing if you know he's going to drop back and pass. If you do, it makes your job easier as a defense to kind of know that. But Derrick Henry, this is the thing, and I'm going to explain it when I get to Baltimore in just a moment. You got to know, based on, and it's hard because when Derrick Henry's in a game, it's hardly a passing play. It is. But double Mark Andrews. I'm going to say this again. Double Mark Andrews. Guys, Zay Flowers might not play. That's a big injury to keep an eye on for this game. Okay? If Zay Flowers does not play, Mark Andrews is number one priority. Double team him. Everywhere he goes, double team him. Put a linebacker underneath. Put a safety to cut him up over the top. All right? Do not let him pick apart your defense. He is Lamar's go-to guy. Find him at every play you can in the passing game. The running game with Derrick Henry, hey, your front's got to be physical up front. You've got dudes that can do it. All right? 22, wrap up, eyes on Lamar, okay? Contain him. I know I'm saying a lot, but really this is what they're thinking, right? And then it's how can we get pressure on Lamar, keeping him in the pocket, but also confusing his looks from what he sees pre-snap to post-snap. That's what you have to do. But Mike Tomlin's got the secret sauce that he knows has been working. That's what would make me feel good about this. And Lamar's playoff history. That helps too. So, now for the Ravens. All right? I feel like the thing I said to my friends were, if the Baltimore Ravens are going to beat the Steelers, right? And I said this too, is look, Lamar, we get it. You have the best touchdown to interception ratio in your career so far. Better statistical year than last year. We get that. But you don't have to do everything. That's why we got big old 22 back there. Let Henry run the rock. Let Henry run through that defense. That's why you got him. Pound the football with Derrick Henry. You're a running team. You've always been that with him. Now, you got a guy in the backfield. They can't drop that extra safety in the box all the time. Okay? Now it's, okay. We're going to be in trouble because now he knows how to kind of run through the run defense and able to do that. Now, that extra safety in the box, it's going to be tough to figure out how to stop the run with Derrick Henry. Because you got two running threats in the backfield. So you got to run Derrick Henry. And don't go away from Derrick Henry. Don't go away from Derrick Henry. The only reason they go away from Derrick Henry is that they trail in a ball game. When they trail by 2 scores, that team goes away from Derrick Henry, and that's what gets you in trouble. And I've seen it multiple times this year, and especially in the games they lost. Baltimore cannot go away from Derrick Henry. They could not if they're going to win. If they go away from Derrick Henry, game over. They're going to lose because Lamar's not good enough to win a game strictly as a passer. Not in my opinion. He's got to prove that, but I think Derrick Henry, knowing what I've seen him do on the Steelers' last meeting, they can keep running the football with him and get him going a little bit, right? Now, these other guys, right? Obviously, Pittsburgh, they've got young corners, right? So guys like Nelson Aguilar, these other young receivers, right? These guys are going to have to step up with Zay Flowers potentially being out, all right? And this is where I want to see who is that next guy if Zay Flowers steps up for them. Because Mark Andrews is going to get double teamed. He's going to get double teamed. All right? Isaiah Likely caught fire early in the season, and then he kind of flamed out. They get their backs sometimes. It's a different bunch of guys, right? Justice Hill gets going a little bit. And then you have some other dudes that get in, right? So, who are they going to pick on because Dante Jackson got picked on? Somebody else got picked on when Jamar Chase was on them last time, right? And Jamar Chase cooked them, honestly, right? But, hey, if they put one of those young corners on you one-on-one, take the shot downfield. That's what you have to do, right? So, I'm rambling. I get it. I know. I'm just trying to give you guys some interesting insights, all right? So, who am I taking? I'm taking Baltimore, all right? I don't trust Pittsburgh's offense. Baltimore got 34. I don't know if it's going to be that, but I'm going to say 27-17. I think they get one touchdown late, puts them away, and I don't think the Steelers have much that can make them hang in there. They need to take Pittsburgh needs a takeaway if they're having any chance. Or they're going to need multiple stops, takeaways. They have to win the turnover battle. But what Lamar do they get? Do they get the playoff choking Lamar? Or do they get the Lamar that comes out that he knows he has to win a playoff game and wins it? I like good Lamar for this game, not for a consistent playoff run as a whole. 27-17, Baltimore beats Pittsburgh. All right, we're going to Sunday's game. Broncos taking on the Bills. These two teams did not meet this year, just like the Chargers and the Texans did not meet as well. And the Bills are 8.5-point favorites. I don't like that. I would take Denver, as crazy as that sounds. Denver, the biggest thing you've got going for you, you're number 1 in sacks, right? You've got Pat Surtain. He's probably going to take Amari Cooper. Denver can get home with 4. And if you remember, they beat Josh Allen last year before the Bills caught fire at the end of last season. So they are no strangers to cold weather. They are no strangers to kind of playing with house money, right? They beat Josh Allen last year. Different team, but guess what? They know how to do it. Bo Nix, you're the wild card in this. What is playoff Bo Nix going to be like? He's naturally never been good on the road. He's been pretty good at home. I think that's where he's got to play mistake-free football, right? Because Sean McDermott's going to bring blitzers. He loves blitzing. That's from the Jim Johnson tree. All right? They're going to have to find a way to kind of help him get him into some comfortable plays based on what McDermott's going to do. He'll confuse you sending blitzes from different angles, right? And, you know, they've got Sutton, they've got Marvin Mims. How do they get those guys the ball in some situations where he's able to get it out in a friendly way where I can get it out to you because I know they're bringing that extra blitzer because we don't have the numbers to block. All right? But also, can you trust him to make turnover-free decisions for an entirety of the game? He's not going to win you the game, but he's going to have to make a couple throws in the game to win it, right? They need their running game to be kind of the reason. Can they run the ball on the Bills? I think you can run on the ball in Buffalo. I do. Defensively, keep Josh Allen in the pocket. Don't let him escape. If you let him escape, that's going to kill you. It's backbreakers. All right? So that front four, as good as they've been sacking the quarterback, keep Josh Allen in the pocket. Don't let him move to his side. Don't let him do it. Up the middle, that's where your big defensive tackle's got to hold the A-gap. Maybe keep that spy. See where he is. The minute he starts moving up to the middle, you move up. Force him to have to step up and make a rush late throw over the middle to kind of make sure that you keep him guessing. All right? Defensively, I feel like that if you keep Allen in the pocket, Surtain takes Cooper, forces Buffalo to go to Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, who they actually might put Surtain on sometimes, Kincaid, right? That's going to be the difference. All right? But also, Josh Allen, we know, has been a guy that can make turnovers in the playoffs. But he's been pretty good being clean with the ball. But can you get takeaways on Josh Allen to help Bo Nix get a manageable field and get points? Because that's the only thing you got to beat Buffalo. Is you got a strong defense and you got a great coach that knows how to help them get into positions to keep him in a game. And that's what you want. So, I feel like that Denver has got to play ball control football, and they got to find a way to get pressure on Allen while containing him in the pocket and being able to make him rush those throws, kind of make him a little antsy, and make sure he doesn't get comfortable. Buffalo's offense, right? James Cook, Johnson, this is a game where you guys need to step up in the backfield. You got to find ways to kind of get some of those passing routes into their arsenal and get them some plays. Because this Denver defense, they're good as among the skill position areas, the secondary. But it's the backs. Can you get one-on-ones against their linebackers, against safeties? Can the backs get one-on-ones? James Cook, Ty Johnson, those games are for you. You got to get going. All right? There's one other guy, I'm forgetting his name, but he's in there too. All right? But they got to get them going. They've got to get them going. Defensively, Bo Nix, you got to find a way to kind of disguise coverages, and you got to find a way to get pressure with him because naturally, Bo Nix, he hasn't seen everything. He makes good decisions, but you got to find a way to keep him behind the chains because he doesn't really take shots downfield. He'll take one here and there, but he'll take those little easy passes, right? But you've got to get him off the field on third down. That's where you got Von Miller, Gregory Rousseau, and you've got Ed Oliver. You've got guys like that can make plays. They've got to be able to just find ways to get Bo Nix off the field and then offensively let Josh Allen play mistake-free football. That's what you want to do in this case. And I think that's their best hope as far as just kind of playing into their style. So who do I like? Oof. I'm not going to lie. I think this is closer than people think this is. I do. I've seen Buffalo's defense in the playoffs look very shaky. I've seen Pittsburgh move on him last year. I've seen Miami move the ball on him, right? And I think Denver can move the ball on him. I'm going to take Buffalo 28. I think Denver's going to get some points. 28-23 Buffalo. All right? If you guys are caring about like over and unders, it is 46.5. That means it would go over. It wouldn't shock me if it went under, but I would not bet the total on this game. I would take Denver plus 8.5. I do think this game smells. I would rather have that instead of laying 8.5 with Buffalo because I know that lately the Denver defense has gotten shredded lately by the Chargers, by Cincinnati. I get it, but 8.5 to Buffalo is a lot. I would take the 8.5 with Denver. I think this is going to be closer than people realize, and I think it's going to be a really good opening game on January 12th. Bills win, though, 28-23. Commanders, Bucs. Actually, no, I'm skipped over a game. Packers, Eagles, my bad. Eagles are 4.5-point favorites. Over and under is listed at 45.5. Now, we get to the rematches. All these games have rematches. So, this is where I'm a little bit less on the stats. All right? Week 1, obviously two different teams. All right? Eagles won 34-29. Jordan Love did struggle a little bit with some mistakes, right? Didn't play quite his best game. The Eagles defense didn't play quite the best like they are playing at times now. So we have to remember, these are two different teams, and they're two different teams now. Here's one thing that worries me about the Eagles. Their starters basically have rested for almost, not 2 weeks, but they got basically such a big lead on Dallas. They've almost had really 2 weeks off. And yes, you want to be healthy, but you also need a little rhythm. And Jalen Hurts now is coming back from concussion protocol potentially. And that's big if he does play or not. Why? Because that determines my pick. All right? Now, I don't know how he's going to play off his first game off concussion protocol. I don't know how he's going to play. All right? Because now they're going to rely on Saquon Barkley. But Saquon Barkley didn't play last week. And he sat out about, I want to say, halfway through the fourth quarter against Dallas after he got 2,000 yards. So, hey, Saquon Barkley, you're going to be the bell cow. And Green Bay's going to sell out to stop you because they know you're the bell cow. And the Eagles' passing game, it's gotten better over the last couple weeks, but they're going to make Jalen Hurts have to beat him. And they've got receivers, Dotson, Smith, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. Hey, you've got dudes. You got to find a way to get those guys to be big vocal points, which they've been. But you've got to make them big vocal points to where they don't drop just 8-9 guys in a box all keying on 26. You don't want that. All right? That offensive line is a really good offensive line. They are great at run blocking, but they're also a good pass protecting line as well. Right? But the problem is they've got to find spacing. They've got to find separation. Right? A.J. Brown is really good one-on-one. Got to find ways to get him the ball. Devontae Smith, great route runner. Good way to get him in the red zone. Dallas Goedert's been making plays. All right? Jahan Dotson could be a big player if they find a way to get the shot they want with him. Right? So, the Eagles, it's about kind of getting that balance. You could still run with Barkley, but you don't want the Packers bringing 8-9 guys all the time and forcing Hurts to kind of beat, kind of having to force the ball to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You don't want that all the time, right? That passing game has struggled, but you need them to have at least some semblance of a game if the Eagles are going to make that deep Super Bowl run like they did 2 years ago. Or 3 years ago, that matter actually now. But 2 years, since we're still in 24. But, hey, they've got to do it. All right? They've got the team to do it. Defensively against Jordan Love, right? You obviously want to keep him in the pocket, but you also want to make sure that he's able to hold that ball just a little bit longer. Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, those guys, they're going to be big. Jordan Davis, those guys. Collapse that pocket and absolutely make him hold that ball a little longer. And that secondary will work together with Cooper DeJean, Keely Ringo, Darius Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Get those guys, that front and that back end working together. Zach Bond in the middle, right? Get those guys working together. You'll get some stops on Jordan Love. You'll be in good shape. Green Bay was a 7 seed last year, and they won a playoff game and gave the number 1 seed 49ers a run in the playoffs. They are more than certainly capable of doing it again. Do not let them fool you, like Dallas did last year. All right? Vic Fangio is going to find ways to get to Jordan Love. All right? He's good. He's a good defensive, really great defensive coordinator. He'll find a way. Green Bay, Josh Jacobs. You got to find a way to get him going, those holes, man. All right? Jordan Love, his wrist is injury prone, right? But you got to get that running game going. Let Jacobs eat. You get him going. Bring that extra defender in, right? Those young receivers, Jalen Reed, Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks if he's playing. Get those young receivers going. Once they bring that extra defender in and you're able to kind of get that play action, and if you're able to get a big play on that defense, that's when you take it with Jordan Love. But Jordan Love's also got to remember not to force a lot of those tight throws because those are what's going to get you into mistakes. All right? But he's got to be able to understand that this front four Philadelphia, you can't drop back 40 times and beat him that way. You can't. So I look at this and say, who do I like in this game? I could see Green Bay pulling an upset. I can. I don't like that two of these teams are matching up, and then I got to really sweat this out. I'm going to take Philly to be safe. I think that Philly got, 34 against Green Bay last time? Can they get to 31? 30? Yeah, they can get to 30. I do. Green Bay 17. I think that Green Bay is going to score. I do think it's going to be close going into the fourth. But I think the Eagles find that passing game balance, that running game that finally opens up holes. And I think they put away Green Bay late. Get Jordan Love to throw one mistake. That seals the game. 30-17. Philadelphia beats Green Bay. Commanders taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucs are 3-point favorites. And I'll get the over and under for you, for those that really, really, really want to know. All right? Because those people that want to know. All right? Over and under is at 50.5. Ooh. This one I take the over. I would. This and probably one other game, I think. You could make a strong case for it. This is the game I think that likely has a chance to maybe be the most exciting game of the weekend. Both of these teams, again, matched up in week one. Jaden Daniels was it was his first career start this game, right? And it was in Washington, not Tampa, this first game. But now it's in Tampa. So how much has he learned since that Tampa game? A lot. Now it's, okay, what is Jaden Daniels going to do to match up against the Todd Bowles blitz-heavy defense? Because Todd Bowles will blitz people, Jaden Daniels. How do you beat the blitz? get the ball out quick. You're able to kind of just make sure that you slide your protection to the side that you know the blitz is coming from. And you get your quick throws to the backs. Dump it off to the backs, right? Kind of get some plays that you're able to just get it out quick, right? And then if they kind of show you some of that blitz and stuff like that, because they are going to contain Jayden Daniels, I think, a little bit, right? But Jayden Daniels, if he can kind of navigate that pocket, extend plays with his legs, right? Kind of hurt them up the middle, I think that's where he can be dangerous, right? I know he's a dangerous runner just as he is as a thrower, but I think that he can beat them with his quick game and his ability to kind of navigate through the pressure. That's what I want to see if Jayden Daniels can do, all right? He's going to have to get that ball out quick first and foremost because Todd Bowles will blitz defenders, all right? Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, you guys are going to be big as well. Quick plays for them out of the backfield. Get them the ball in short field and let them work upfield. Get into second and third and manageable, right? Keep those drives alive, all right? Terry McLaurin. You got to make sure that a guy like him, you get him some quick routes easy, get the ball into his hands early, and then those other receivers, right? Get those big plays to happen if you can get one-on-ones to do it. When you blitz, you leave more opportunities one-on-one in coverage, and there's holes within a blitz where you can find the open holes where to go with the ball. So I feel like that if Washington's able to do that, they'll be fine. Zach Ertz will be another key piece to this, right? A little bit. I feel like that these other receivers, they're going to have to step up and find some of those guys that they know can help get that ball out. Zacchaeus, Luke McCaffrey. That's where they're going to have to be ready to step up against Tampa's secondary that it's an all right secondary. I mean, Antoine Winfield Jr. is a really good safety, but, you know, in the secondary, you know, they're going to be all right. So, as far as what Tampa is, now Tampa's a team that's been good in the playoffs last couple of years, dating back to when Tom Brady was there. Baker's won a playoff game now, obviously, and they almost made it to the NFC Championship game last year. So Baker Mayfield, hey, you know who to double. Mike Evans is the guy. Don't sleep on McMillan. He's been a good number 2, right? But it's going to be interesting to see Evans versus Lattimore, who's going to win that matchup. But how often do you double Mike Evans? How often do you give McMillan some attention, right? And that's what you got to find out. How do you get Baker Mayfield to be uncomfortable, right? That's what you have to find out. And I feel like that Baker Mayfield, he's going to sling it. But you got to make him hold that ball a little bit, right? Washington, Dan Quinn, he's got to figure out a way to kind of mix up coverages, disguise fronts, right? Get some of those extra blitzers one-on-one, find a way to attack it. I know I'm saying the same thing, but you got to find a way to get some of those matchups to blitz Baker Mayfield, all right? Confuse him a little bit. And I feel like that Washington's young pass rush, they're going to find their ways. Dorrance Armstrong, Jonathan Allen's coming back, all right? They've got to find ways to just get Baker Mayfield into some trouble early, and I think that could get Jayden Daniels the ball in some favorable short fields. But I think it's going to come down to who can sustain drives and keep their offense out on the field, right? Because both of these coordinators, I think, are going to bring very good pressure exotic looks. But who's going to make those plays that are able to keep their drives going? Is it Jayden Daniels or is it Baker Mayfield? All right? Baker's won 2 playoff games. Jayden Daniels has an opportunity to win his first. Who's the pick? Oof. I'm here to tell you right now. I don't love that I'm saying this, but I got to be a little creative with this. I think I'm going to take Washington to beat Tampa. I like the points of Washington. I do. And I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I do. I think it's going to be potentially a game that I think both of these teams score. I think both quarterbacks have a shot to go over 300 passing yards. I think in the end it comes down to who has the ball last. And I think Jaden Daniels and company get one drive and get that late field goal, and they win 30-27 in Tampa. Because I feel like I could see either one of these teams winning. But I got to be unique, and I'm going to take an upset. I think Jaden Daniels, I've seen rookie quarterbacks win a playoff game their first year. I saw C.J. Stroud do it last year. Jaden Daniels has the opportunity to do it this year. And I feel like Washington has been playing good football lately. And they play great in late game situations. Give me Washington to beat Tampa. Give me Washington to beat Tampa by 3. Vikings, Rams. They also met on a Thursday night back in LA. Now, this game might get moved to Phoenix because of the LA wildfires going on. Our thoughts and prayers go out to those people that are being affected by the wildfires right now. Hopefully, people are safe and evacuated, because I saw them on TV before I did this. Very, very bad they look. Vikings are 1.5 point favorites in Los Angeles. The over and under is at 47.5. I was going to pick this as an upset, but I can't go there. I can't go there. I do think this is a game I need to see Minnesota do it. I've seen Minnesota be a team that had a good regular season with O'Connell before, and they were one and done. I remember with Mike Zimmer, they had one good year with Zimmer. And that was to the championship game with Case Keenum. And they had a Minneapolis Miracle get him to a championship game. But I also remember Kirk Cousins winning a playoff game for them in New Orleans, and then they got pounced by the Niners the next week. So Minnesota, while they've done it on the road, but that was with Zimmer, Kevin O'Connell's a good coach. You want to be in that Super Bowl contender category, you got to go do it. You got to go do it. So I need to see it. And I know they did good against Green Bay. They looked awful against the Lions, which I thought they would make it a closer game. No, they didn't. No, they got absolutely held down in check. Sam Darnold. You want to prove to people you want money this year? You need to play the best game of your career. Because you've had a great regular season. But you've got a good enough team to make it far this year. Now it's time. You got to do something in the playoffs. All right? And they got a better team than the Rams. They do. But O'Connell versus Sean McVay. And I'm not betting against Sean McVay in the playoffs. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Betting-wise, I'm not doing it. The Rams are hard to figure out, though, recently, because they look good one week, and then they look average against Arizona before they rested their starters against Seattle. And they looked all right against the Jets, too. Like, something just doesn't look right with them right now. But their offense, man, when they get it going, they'll be fine. I'm going to trust the Vikings to win this game. Because I feel like that Justin Jefferson, the Rams don't have anybody to trust him on. Okay, I think he's going to be a guy that gets his fair share. Okay. I think that Jordan Addison is a great number 2. He'll have it going. All right. Hawkinson, I think they need to get more over the middle with. Right. Aaron Jones is a very good playoff performer. They need to be able to let him run the football a little bit. All right. They have weapons around Darnold. Just find a way to get those playmakers the ball. And don't muck it up. Right? Defensively, I think Brian Flores is going to have ways that he's going to exploit Stafford. He's not really mobile, so I think he's going to find a way to blitz Stafford. And I don't think that he's going to react well with it. I think Nakua, they have to find a way to kind of double team because he's been Stafford's number 1 guy. Cooper Kupp has fallen off. I don't expect him to really do much in this game. So, give me Minnesota to win 27-17. Oh, it's right at that over and under total. 27-20, Vikings beat the Rams. I think Minnesota will score. I think the Rams will get 20. But I think Minnesota gets one more score late that puts them away, and I think that Minnesota is able to go into Los Angeles and beat the Rams. So 27-20, Vikings beat the Rams. So let's quickly recap. I got the Chargers beating the Texans, the Ravens beating the Steelers, the Bills beating the Broncos, the Eagles beating the Packers, Commanders beating Tampa, and the Vikings beating the LA Rams. Second round looks like this. Chargers take on the Chiefs. I'll make this quick. I don't think that the Chargers offense has any chance to score with Kansas City's defense. As good as their defense has been in the 2 games against Patrick Mahomes, I don't think that Joey Bosa and them can get stops. And I hate you fucking Chief bandwagons. You are so lucky you get a fucking favorable draw once again. You are so fucking lucky. Give me the Chiefs to beat the Chargers. Bills, Ravens in the second round in Orchard Park. It's going to be a good game though, man. Battle of the MVP right here. Lamar, this is a big game for you. You got to win this game on the road. Last time you went to Buffalo, you lost. 4 seasons ago, you lost in Buffalo. I watched that game. You threw a pick six at the end of the game. All right? And while in the regular season these two teams met and Derrick Henry ran absolutely wild on them, something tells me that Lamar Jackson's playoff demons are going to come back and haunt them again. And Josh Allen, he's beaten Lamar before. I trust him in the playoffs way more than I do Lamar Jackson. So Josh Allen over Lamar, I trust him. I am going with 23-17. The Bills beat Baltimore in a good classic in the AFC divisional round. And I've got Buffalo, Kansas City in the AFC Championship. In the NFC, I've got the Lions hosting the Vikings, again, a rematch of Week 18. I don't think it will be as bad as Week 18 was. I do think, however, that the Lions will win. I think the Lions will score 31 points like they did last time. But I think the Vikings will get 17. And I just think that Sam Darnold's just going to get sacked a couple times. He's going to throw a pick to Kirby Joseph or Brian Branch. And I feel like that the Lions found something with Justin Jefferson that a lot of teams did not find against them. So, give me the Lions 31-17 over the Vikings. They host the NFC Championship. Oh, wait. Hold on. Brain fog. Washington's a lower seed. My bad, everybody. Washington's hosting the Lions. Washington's going to Detroit. My bad. Either way, I have 31-17. I think that Jaden Daniels' remarkable rookie season, I feel like he's going to give them a great game. But I feel like that the Lions, they're going to find a way to kind of keep him in check. And I feel like that the Lions will at least get 31 on Washington's defense. So give me 31 for the Lions. Washington could score actually a little bit. Give me 31-20. Give me 31-20. I'll give Washington 3 more points than Minnesota because I think they could score a little bit. I think they can get to 20. 31-20, Detroit over Washington. Detroit goes to the NFC. Detroit hosts the NFC Championship still. I messed up. That was my bad, guys. Eagles host the Vikings. That's why I got it mixed up. Okay. This one, I feel like I have yet to see the Vikings beat the Eagles. I have yet to see it. I know Vikings had the better record. I get it. This is where I think they get exposed. Because I think they're going to completely overwhelm Darnold, that front four of Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams and Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, they're going to overwhelm Darnold. Justin Jefferson against Darius Slay should be a fun matchup. He will get one score on him, I think. But in the end, I feel like that this will be a good game. Philly, on the other hand, I feel like they need their defense to play great. And they could do it. But they can also find ways to score. So, and if Jahmyr Gibbs lit up for 4 touchdowns, the Eagles line, they can find a way to get it. I feel like that the Eagles will get 31. The Vikings will get 17. Eagles go to Detroit for the championship game. So, Final Four are both 1 and 2 seeds. I know I didn't pick many upsets. Not saying that there won't be. But in my opinion, this is my bracket. Eagles travel to Detroit. This is where I think the Lions get exposed. Because I feel like that while they did look good against Minnesota, the Eagles are different though. Vic Fangio is calling plays on defense. He will find a way to get Jared Goff under pressure. And I think Vic Fangio has been one of those guys that's found a way to kind of get Jared Goff off his rhythm a little bit. And I feel like that in a dome, I think he'll find ways to get pressure with those 4 guys. The secondary, they're good guys. Do I think they'll limit the Lions' offense a little bit? Probably not. But you've got to imagine that they will be fine. But I feel like that as much as I would root for the Lions in this case, because I do want to see them win a Super Bowl and have the greatest NFL story since the '99 Rams, I feel like Philly wins this game. I feel like that the Eagles have a lot of the things that a Super Bowl team does have, right? Guys that have been in a big game before. They've learned from their mistakes last year where they fell apart. Fangio is a huge 180-degree flip at defensive coordinator. I think he gets some big stops, big pressures on Jared Goff. You ready for this? This is going to be a high-scoring NFC Championship game. All right? I've got it being a 33-26 Eagles-Lions championship game. I think both teams are going to score. You might get some 2-point conversions. You might get some field goals. Make it a little bit of fun. High-scoring NFC Championship game, though. I think it's going to be one of those games. And I think Philly goes into Detroit, beats them in the Super Bowl. Not beats them in the Super Bowl. Beats them on their way to the Super Bowl. Bills-Chiefs. I really want to take off of college to celebrate a Chiefs bandwagon loss. I would love it if they lost first round, but I don't know if they will. Josh Allen, it's got to be, it's now or never if you can't beat this team. All right? It really is. Buffalo, they're demons in this place with Arrowhead. I feel like it'll be the refs and the Chiefs versus the Bills. And I feel like that, you know what? I want to have pride and take Buffalo. I want to have pride and take them. I really do. Someone's not going to be happy. But some reason's telling me the Bills' curse is going to get to them again. I'm waving the white flag. Bandwagons, you win. Every time I have hope that they're going to lose, they always find a way to win anyway. The only hope I have is Buffalo beating them. But the only thing that scares me is the damn Scott Norwood curse that the Bills have floating around them. And this man, Josh Allen, balls out every stinking time against this team. And they just come up a play or 2 or 3 short every time, dude. And I just don't want to... I want to pick them. I do. But I can't. I want to. I don't want Chiefs-Eagles. Super Bowl. It's less of two. It's the less of two evils. Okay. You win, bandwagons. You win. Y'all really thought I was letting you get off that easy? Y'all really thought I was gonna let you off that easy? Hell no. Hell no. No, we're not taking them. No. No. They are not ruining my offseason 3 straight years in a row. It will not happen. It will not happen. I will not suffer for 3 off seasons watching ESPN and fucking all these Fox Sports hosts crown this fucking dude over my guy. I literally had a new jersey I got of Brady the other day. I am not NOT going into hibernation 3 fucking off seasons in a row. Not happening. No way. No. Josh Allen, you're my one hope to beat this man in the fucking championship game. And I do remind you, Chief Bandwagons, a little NFL history on my side. Do you know how hard it is to win 3 Super Bowls in a row? Miami Dolphins came up short. Well, why did they lose? Sea of Hands, Kenny Stabler, 1974 AFC divisional playoff game. Go look it up. This close. This close. Okay? Pittsburgh couldn't do it because Vegas got in the way. Vegas got in their way. Even when they had their best defense in 76. Look it up. 1980, they all got old. Got that put in the way. 49ers. They hosted an NFC Championship game. Roger Craig fumbled the ball. 3-peat. Bye-bye. In that moment. Bye-bye. Dallas Cowboys trying to go for 3 in a row. Jerry Jones got in the damn way and said, Jimmy, you're no longer coaching my team. Barry Switzer can coach my team. Anybody can coach that team. They lose by 10 points to the eventual Super Bowl champion 49ers. Dallas Cowboy 3-peat. Bye-bye. Denver Broncos tried to do it. John Elway retired. He said, I'm good. Injuries got to them. No 3-peat for them. New England Patriots had a shot in 05 to do it. And Champ Bailey had a near pick 6. But they didn't have the team. Eventually, Denver figured him out. One of the few teams that gave Brady troubles. New England's 3-peat came up short. That was bye-bye. 3-peats are not always on your side. Remember that. And they ain't gonna be on your side this time. Mark my words. It's not gonna go your way. And I'm gonna have my buddy here. I am going to make it happen. I will miss college for when y'all lose. Y'all lose a playoff game. I don't care. I'll miss a day of class. I don't give a rat's ass. All right, I'll do it for the people of lounge time here. Okay? And I will have my props. Y'all thought the Joe Burrow one was bad? When I absolutely celebrated that game? Oh, you better hope he plays well. I hope he won't. Because I want to chew up everybody that wants to anoint this man. I want to chew everybody up and absolutely go, yeah, all over. Because I hate that damn team. All right? I want to put Taylor Swift and that fucking annoying Swifties away. I want to put the Chief Bandwagons in their trash bags. Like bullies dumping into lockers. I don't condone it. I'm just being an exaggeration, okay? But the Chief bandwagons, we need to dump the bully in the trash can. All right? The Chief bandwagons are the bullies because they're being annoying. Okay? And I need to be happy. I am not being miserable for 3 off seasons in a row. Nobody is passing my guy. I have said it on the show. I know what I have. That my guy has. That fake baby goat. Not even baby goat. That fake fraud does not have. And this media can make it seem like he's got this and my. Make all your dumb excuses all you want. These 2 eyes, this, have seen a lot. And I know what I have to back my opinions up. Buffalo beats Kansas City. I'm going with pride. I'll stick my fucking chest out. I'm going with pride. Okay? I'm going with pride. Buffalo beats Kansas City. Ready for this? 27-23. Buffalo beats the bandwagons. Not by a field goal, by 4. Bye-bye, bandwagons. You're done. Bills, Eagles, Super Bowl. Should not have got excited. Throat's hurting a little bit, but we gonna be fine. I'm taking Buffalo to beat Philadelphia. I think that Josh Allen, it's his time. I feel like this season he has seen the game a lot better than a lot of people have given him credit for. I remember saying on this very show, first season that we went live on YouTube where everybody could see it. And I remember saying that he's seeing the game like a Manning, like a Brady, where he is calling out, defenses. He's calling out blitzes, right? And I was saying to myself, this man's seeing the game really good. And if he could do that, he'll be fine. And I know Josh is seeing the game pretty well at times. There's times where he does, make mistakes and stuff like that. Everybody does it. I get it. But I think that it's his time. I think he's the MVP of the league. I think he caps it off with the championship and brings Buffalo, finally, its Super Bowl that they need. Give me Buffalo to beat Philadelphia 30-24 in the Super Bowl 59. Super Bowl, I think, we're on 59. Yeah, we're on 59. I think that the Bills finally get on top and Josh Allen does it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in live time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, that like button, that notification bell to get all of the latest episodes and content needed for the playoff edition of the 2024 season. You do not want to miss it. We are planning to have a couple guests, and we will have a talk on the wildcard rounds, previewing the divisional round a little bit. That's what we'll do. But I figured today I'd give you my entire playoff bracket at hand and go from there. So there you have it, folks. Hope you guys enjoy this episode, and I hope you guys enjoy your NFL playoff weekend. Until then, guys, I will see you guys next week where we talk the wildcard round and preview the divisional round on the next episode of Lounge Time. Have a great week and weekend, everybody.